This is Undaunted.Life, a man's podcast. I'm your host, Kyle Thompson. Let's get into it. Welcome back to the Forging Table. The mission of Undaunted.Life is equipping men to push back darkness with content that forges spiritual, mental, and physical resilience. At the Forging Table, you'll see a group of regular guys forging spiritual resilience by digging into God's Word. And we're welcoming all of you to come along on that journey with us. Out of order, that's Ryan, that's Jake, that's Derek. Guys, we got to talk about this from the very beginning, though, because this kind of came up during the break. We were talking about 80s action movies, okay? And we were talking about how some of them are kind of preposterous, and you have to suspend belief to go back and watch them. But I will say, I was born in 86, so I kind of missed a lot of those, and then I didn't go back. But I think at this point, we need to say, if you could have one 80s action movie, right, and the rest of them had to be deleted, right? And I will be here just in case we need to IMDb a date or something like that, because they may have gotten over into the early 90s. So I already know mine. And so if one of y'all doesn't already have yours, like I'll give mine. But like, you know, y'all might choose mine. But 80s action movie. I think that's a pretty broad category, but you get one. And the rest is gone. For all of humanity. How about that? Not just you. For the rest of time, for the rest of humanity. You get one. Okay. What are we going with?
Die Hard.
What year was that one in?
1988.
Really? It's that old? Yeah. That's a great one to start with.
Yippee-ki-yay.
But for you, well, you don't have to finish it. But like for you, why does Die Hard? Why is that the one?
It's the greatest Christmas movie of all time.
Also true. Yeah.
Yeah.
I think
like I watch it every year when I wrap presents for my kids and my wife.
It is very rewatchable.
I love Bruce Willis. You know, miss his acting. It wasn't the first movie I ever saw with Bruce Willis, but Die Hard has always been one of my favorites.
Okay, very good. So
I'll let you go next.
I think
Derek.
this would be considered an action movie. I think it was in the 80s, but I got to go with Top Gun.
I was going to say,
okay.
I didn't want to
with
say
that mustache you had to.
Yeah, you literally could not say anything else.
We're here with actual Goose.
That came out the year I was born, 1986.
All right, yeah.
We all know Jake's is Pretty Woman, so
a lot of action in that.
Not the type of action I'm talking about. So moving right along, Jake. Those were two bangers from the beginning. Die Hard and Top Gun. I mean, my goodness.
And maybe the greatest sequel.
Hey, real quick, but before Top Gun Maverick, I have to admit something, because I had just said this. I would lay in bed with my dad and we would like watch TV, and so I got to watch bits and pieces of TV versions of movies. I had never seen Top Gun all the way through when Top Gun Maverick had come out. I'd seen parts of it. And so I kind of Goose dies, and that's, and it's the big dramatic, loud, intro of that thing. So I literally watched it before I watched Top Gun Maverick. Nice. So sorry about that. Sorry about you. Go ahead.
It's all right.
Jake?
Boy, I think this may be 1990. Predator is mine.
Okay.
It's going to be
close.
close.
It's 89.
It's close. I know it's really close.
So would this been the one with Schwarzenegger?
That's with Schwarzenegger.
It's 87.
Okay.
So
87,
you are
I'm way off.
Yeah. That was like
Samson.
Die Hard came out a year later.
Swami.
No, Predator's mine. Number one, I think it's an amazing action movie, but it is also the only 80s action movie where the villain is actually the one that's taking out all of the really strong armed services, or all the big heroes. So it kind of flipped the whole story on its head that you typically got in the 80s action films.
Okay. Those are three big ones. I'm literally changing my mind from hearing what y'all have said. I've reconsidered one. So what I was going to say was Bloodsport. I absolutely love that movie. I think that movie is incredible. That was a UFC movie before it was a thing. And I was informed during the break that they were chanting Kumite.
That's right.
When they're like, you go into it.
Kumite. Kumite.
So
Kumite.
I'm an idiot. I thought they were saying, I thought they were just making noises.
Like they're wheezing.
I didn't know they were talking about Kumite, but I'm going to change it. Now, I will say, y'all get to determine whether or not this is an action movie, but I'm pretty sure it has to fall into the action category. I'm taking The Karate Kid.
Is that an action movie?
It's not your typical 80s. It's centered around the greatest of all martial arts that definitely works in all circumstances, karate.
I mean, your favorite. It's your favorite.
So, I guess we can take a poll. Let's take a poll. So, Karate Kid, action movie, yes or no? Kind of like Die Hard, Christmas movie, yes or no? So, all at the same time. All at the same time. So, it's up if it's an action movie, down if it's not. 3, 2, 1, go.
I'll give it to you.
3, to one.
This is
Right?
coming from
So
the guy who
it's-
likes Lord of the Rings.
I
That's
know.
right.
We can't really trust your judgment at all.
I
Of course,
think
I
you
haven't
can.
seen it.
Are you still
and
here? You can leave
Yeah.
at any time you want. I think you
I think Karate Kid's a teen drama.
a teen.
Oh yeah, teen drama movie.
I haven't
teen
seen it
drama
since I
film.
was a teen. So
He literally just
might
put
be true.
Karate Kid in with the vampire movies. What are they?
You know what? Can we all agree that Internet Movie Database would be the arbiter
Yeah,
of what categories things are allowed to be in?
Are we also going to trust their ratings from their amazing critics on there?
I would
I won't go with the critics, but
they
I'll go with
Karate Kid.
Let's go look up Moonlight and how
PG
they
for
scored it.
1984 action/drama. It is literally an 80s action movie because it was in
Action
1984.
drama. So is it
You know, let's see what Predator is. It'll be like, all right,
Action.
Predator.
action and horror?
All right,
sci-fi.
let's say right there.
It's gonna be
Let's,
sci-fi.
let's see what it is.
Action
1987 Predator. This is not the same line I was reading. Alien invasion, jungle adventure, monster horror, one-person army action. So those are some really specific categories.
Yeah.
It apparently doesn't have like big, wide categories on there. But okay, yeah. And a 47 Metascore rating. That's pretty terrible. But okay, yeah.
And they're
So,
wrong.
The Karate Kid is an action movie. Ryan is furiously looking something up over there, though. What do you got?
I don't know. I was looking up Lord of the Rings.
Why? I thought we were past this. Like, I want to be past it forever. I
'Cause
actually don't want it to exist anymore.
It's an action epic, adventure epic. It's an epic.
Oh, is that what they categorize it as?
Yeah.
An action epic. Now I kind of feel like we need to say what trilogy. If
Dark,
we had
dark
to
fantasy.
if we had to take a trilogy, but there's not any like
I mean, how many trilogies
there's
are
not
there?
a lot.
I mean,
right?
and what are you going to? I mean,
We all
you
know
know
the-
which one I'm going to pick.
Give me Christopher Nolan's The Dark Knights.
Dude, that's
give me
way
his
better
Batmans.
than Lord of the Rings.
Yeah.
False.
A billion, only by like a billion.
So good.
Derek, no one actually heard you because you didn't use your big boy voice.
So good.
Bam, there
So
it is.
good,
Derek's
dude.
a Batman
It's
fan.
not,
Yeah.
it's not that it's not a bad. I'm saying it's a great trilogy. It's just not on the par of Lord of the Rings.
You're taking Lord of the Rings over the Dark Knight trilogy.
Yeah.
Dude,
and over
if
again.
you had to
Yikes.
bury me with something, bury me with the Dark Knight. Is masterpiece.
If I die young, bury me in satin.
Yeah.
You know, that's a band.
don't lay
Perry,
me down on
nobody?
anything with Peter
that's a good
Jackson.
Thank
That's
you.
all I got to
It's
say.
okay. Derek knew what I was laying down there. The band
Wait,
Perry, guys.
yeah, I know the band
That was
Perry.
the first band Perry
If
reference
I
on.
die
You don't
young,
have to sing it.
Bury me in satin.
You definitely don't have to
Lay
sing it.
me
You definitely don't have to keep
down
singing
on
it. Bed of roses.
No.
Sing
No.
me in the river at dawn. Send
gonna
me
join.
away with the words of a love song. I'm still waiting for you guys to come in.
I don't
Yeah.
know the song.
Okay. Okay. We can't listen to it right now.
Yeah.
But
I don't remember the words at all, but I remember my brother-in-law, he would always say, when it says pennies, he would always say panties.
panties for $1. Because the line is pennies for $1, but
Yeah.
it's panties for your brother.
Panties
What?
Wow.
for $1.
You know, that's how I'm going to sing it from now
Yeah,
on. Because I
singing it
typically
stuck in
sing
your
that
head.
every day. You don't know the band Perry? That's a great song.
I know.
Yeah.
I know the
It's
band
the
Perry. I've heard that line, but I don't really know the
It's
song.
the only song
got a
they're
good-
known for.
Yeah.
Good raspy
that-
voice.
Yeah,
I
they're
could-
kind of a
I know
one-hit wonder.
the "If I Die Young" line, and that's pretty much
So
it. But I'm
they-
not the singer in the family.
So
Me neither.
the lead singer gal and then the two guys, they're brother and sister.
Yeah.
They're all kind of
Yeah.
like, I met them when they were in New York City and they came through when I was doing that weird MLB job. So
She did a second one. It's like a If I Die Young Part 2. My daughter made me listen to it.
Nice.
I didn't know you could die young twice.
Yeah. Now she's like talking about being a mother.
really? Okay. All right.
It was interesting.
This has been so all over the place from the beginning. People
was
that are
gonna say,
listening
how
to
did we go
this.
from
I
Die
as
Hard
their first-
was excited to
singing the
discuss
band Perry.
trilogies. I was excited to discuss trilogies. I mean, I'm over here going like,
Yeah,
man,
but
there's
the-
way more than just the
Well,
two
but
that
there's
we
not
made.
a whole lot. Okay, you know what? I'll see what.
About the Die Hard trilogies.
All right, let me actually look. So
Well, it's like a,
Die Hard 1,
it's
2,
like-
3.
How
and
many
then
is
you
it now?
Throw out those other ones
Yeah.
that are like
Right, yeah.
straight to video.
Yeah. Lethal Weapon.
Oh,
Those are great trilogy.
yeah.
all right, so I'm literally just typing into ChatGPT top movie trilogies of all time. We'll see what they say. They're going to definitely say Godfather, even
Yes,
though
they
we
are.
will forget the third one.
The third one's
don't look,
horrible.
don't look, Derek. So what trilogies are we into? I'm trying to think of a trilogy other than the Dark Knight one where I'm like, yeah, I would watch all three of those again. Lord of the Rings, definitely not.
Boy, Terminator would be tough. You got T1, T2, which
well,
are great, and then T3.
ChatGPT, which doesn't know anything. They have Lord of the Rings at number 1 and Dark Knight at number 2. I guess people are saying the original Star Wars. So that what would that be?
Oh, okay.
That's 6, 7, and 8.
What would that be? 4, 5, and 6.
4 or 5.
4,
I
5,
don't
and
even
six.
Four,
know
5, and
Star
6?
Wars.
Yeah.
Okay, and then it has Godfather, and then it has Back to the Future trilogy.
Oh, that's a classic.
Okay. Then they have the Toy Story trilogy, even though they have a fourth movie out. So I guess
Well, Lethal Weapon.
Born. I go with that.
the Bourne trilogy. The Bourne Identity Supreme. What? Both of y'all scrunched up your faces at the Bourne Identity, the Bourne Supremacy, and the Bourne Ultimatum? You're
I like the
Matt
original.
Damon?
I like the first one.
The first one was good.
Matt Damon?
Matt
Matt
Damon. That's probably why we scrunched up our noses.
That's Matt Damon. That's like having Timothy Chalamet as like a,
How dare you? How dare you? Jason Bourne's not French. What's wrong with you?
no, but
I'd
I'm just
probably
saying
put that
like
second. That's
having
probably my
Damon
second
as an
favorite.
action star is like Timothy Chalamet as an action star.
Yeah.
Oh, God. I
Dude.
don't know how we can deal with that.
All I got to know is like Affleck in The Town, he's ripped. Like he looks like an action star.
Yeah, you said Affleck. I thought you were about to make an insurance joke. And so, okay, I'm not the only one.
Yeah.
Like Affleck.
I was
Ben
like,
Affleck.
if you would have had Ben
I guess
Affleck
Affleck.
as Jason Bourne, maybe I'd be like, yeah, that's cool.
No.
No.
Like that's the thing. I don't know.
What's your thing with Ben Affleck? Why did
Dude,
he's
Ben
like,
Affleck is a great director, and he's gotten better as an actor. And
Ta-
he's a great writer too.
The Town's one of my favorite movies ever. I
Dude,
think he
directed and acted.
did he write it?
I'm pretty sure he wrote it. I'll look it up real quick.
Look it up because we're already off the rails here.
Yeah.
Okay, but all right, getting back into this, number 8, according to ChatGPT trilogy, the Indiana Jones trilogy. So they're talking about Raiders of the Lost Ark, Temple of Doom,
Yeah,
Last
he wrote
Crusade.
it with Peter Craig.
Okay, boom. They say the Spider-Man trilogy.
That
Which
sucked.
one?
The
The
Tobey
Tobey
Maguire.
Maguire?
I guess it would. That's 2002, 2004,
2002.
2007.
Yeah, I don't know.
Nah.
1 and 2 were good.
One
Really
that
good.
nobody's mentioned, and I don't think anybody should. Planet of the Apes. They're taking.
Oh, the ones, the new ones that came out.
They're talking about the reboot.
The reboots
That's the
are
ones they're
good.
talking about. They're not
Yeah.
talking about the originals. I don't know how many of the originals are.
No, those are pretty good. They got the dude that plays the little the Preciouses that you watch.
Yeah, Andy Serkis.
How about
Yeah,
this?
he plays the monkeys.
How about this?
The gorillas.
We can't choose Dark Knight. You can't choose Lord of the Rings.
All right.
What's the one trilogy that we'll take as like, all right, this is the only trilogy that we'll be able to watch over and over. It can be on that list or it can be another trilogy.
can
Mine's
only
the
watch-
Bournes. I'll take the Bournes all day long. Give them to me. Give them to me.
Lethal Weapon, dude. I love Joe Pesci.
But weren't there like
and
4 or
Leth-
5 of those?
Yeah, but there's still a trilogy.
It's a trilogy if there's. Well, yeah, that's the
I
thing
don't
because
know.
some people are like,
I
oh,
think there's
consider the
4.
fourth one.
There's 4 lethal
There's going to be
weapons,
a
I believe.
fifth, but yeah.
Yeah, so
Dude,
you can't
Joe-
have that.
Okay.
Just go ahead and say it. Go
Lethal
ahead and say it.
Weapon.
No,
No. I have to find another one.
The one with the werewolf and the vampires
That's like
and all
7
that.
or
Which
something
one?
like that.
Come on.
What was that?
Just
Lord of
say
the
it.
Rings?
The
Just say it.
Underworld ones?
No, not under. Ooh, that's also good. We don't need to keep talking about that.
Yeah.
But you know what I'm
Kate
talking about.
Beckinsale.
You know why?
one
Why?
I-
You don't have to say it. We were all thinking it, and you just had to say it. You just could not say it.
She's a pretty lady.
We understand that. We're gonna go and get off of that one.
Okay.
Okay. So, but you know what I'm
You're
talking
making
about.
fun of me because I had to watch them all with my wife.
Had to watch what? You have to say it.
What
had
are
to
they
watch
called?
what?
I can't remember what they're
Twilight.
called.
You had to watch Twilight.
So,
What is this had to thing? But can we talk about the had to,
all
had
right,
to thing?
so Rachel and I, my wife and I, were dating at the time, and she had 2 friends that weren't big fans of me.
Can't imagine what
Yeah,
they
why
didn't
not?
see, and
Which-
you didn't see the potential.
The potential douchebag that I was.
We all had our moments. We all had our moments.
The guy that talked in third person. So they ended up getting in a fight, and she was supposed to go see the last Twilight with one of them. And so she's like, now I got these 2 tickets to this last Twilight, and I have nobody to go with. And so she's like,
And y'all were dating at this time,
we were
right?
dating at this time. So I'm like, wanting to get, I like this girl, like I already knew, like she's the one. So I'm like, I'll watch it with you. I'll go see it. She's like, well, you can't go and see it without seeing the other ones. And so we spent that whole weekend, and I watched every single Twilight movie that weekend. Like,
Change your life.
man, dude.
Spoiler alert.
Yeah.
He enjoyed them all. That's
Spoiler
the part.
alert, I'd watch Twilight over Lord of the Rings. I'll tell you
Hey,
that.
oh, yikes. Catching strays out
Yeah,
here.
I know.
Man.
Hey, all right.
fine.
So
I'm
what
offended.
was the werewolf guy's name, and then the,
I can't
the other?
remember.
Okay, because that was like a debate thing. Like, are you team werewolf
here-
guy or team vampire guy?
Here's the worst part about it. So I watched all these
I'm gonna
movies
look this
with
up.
her, and then the day that we're supposed to go and see it, she reconciles with her friend, and they go and see the last one together.
Nice.
So did you ever see
Did
the
you
last
see the
one?
last one? Yeah.
Yeah, I saw the last one.
Okay. All right. So
It's got to
you-
resolve the story.
I gotta finish
Yeah.
them.
The last one's even more messed up because, like, you know how you have the team werewolf and the team vampire people? Well, like, the werewolf, like, imprints on this, like, the vampire's
gosh.
daughter. It's like this weird thing. I was like,
Okay,
this
so
is
it's
kind of
team-
like
Hold on a second.
pedophilia-ish.
I'm getting mocked for Lord of the Rings, and you're talking about werewolves imprinting on.
I've got werewolves imprinting in 2 games.
Hobbits, goblins,
Yeah.
elves,
Every one of
orcs,
those-
dorks. Like we got all these things.
Every one of those
got-
have Christian allegories.
You
It's
got
fine.
these
No
2
big
gay
deal.
guys with furry feet trying to make it up a mountain together.
So just so we can wrap up the Twilight thing. So we have Team Edward, that would be Team Vampire,
Okay.
or Team Jacob, which would be Team Werewolf. So which one were you?
Man, I didn't.
If you had
really
to pick a team.
side.
No, you did. Yeah,
No,
everyone
I
has to
didn't
pick a side, man. Pick a side.
I was picking on the
There's
side
no one
that they were
neutral in
going to
this
kill
universe.
off that chick, the main chick.
No
I was
one
like,
knows
I
what you're
hope she was
talking
gonna
about
die.
in this audience. So just
The
tell
one
us
that
which team.
looks like a dude.
Tell which team. That narrows it. Tell us which one. Which one?
don't know.
Team Edward, Team Jacob.
I really didn't have
Vampire,
one, man.
werewolf, man.
I would go with vampire if I had
Okay.
to choose.
All right. That's good. Kind of put you in the corner. That's fine. But
Yeah.
we didn't get
Nobody
everybody's
puts David in the corner.
trilogy, right? So if you had to delete all the other trilogies, but you can't take your top pick, right? So top pick has been taken in the trilogy draft. So I'm taking the Bournes. All right. So what else? What's everyone else taking? You can't take your favorite.
We can't
you,
do
I
Dark
guess you
Knight.
said Lethal
I
Weapon.
said Lethal Weapon.
He
Yeah,
said
well,
dark,
let's
no
get-
Dark
We
Knight,
can't
no
do
Lord of
that.
the Rings.
Yeah, we
I'll
can't
let you
do
go
Dark
first.
Knight.
'cause
That's
I'm
what
gonna
I
have to
would've
go with Bourne as well.
Okay. All right. We'll allow it.
I'm going deep cut. It's movies I used to watch with Dad. So it's the Dollars trilogy. So the Fistful of Dollars,
Fistful of Dollars.
Few dollars more, The Good, the Bad, and the Ugly.
Okay.
All right.
And no one can make fun of it because you mentioned your dad.
That's
Thanks
right.
a lot.
That's right.
Jeez. All right. That's one way to
Are
insulate
you
yourself.
really going to make fun of a classic Western
I'm
trilogy?
not going to make
I mean,
fun of it. But part of the problem is when you go back and watch those movies, the action is so ridiculous. Like where someone gets shot and then they take 17 steps backwards and then fall through the window.
Sure.
It's a little bit ridiculous.
No, okay, here's the thing. A lot of the stuff from the old days was like they did not have a lot of the special effects, but the acting was far superior to what we get now because everything relies on special effects now.
And-
and the writing was better.
I mean, as good as the Dark Knight trilogy is, could we all do without the Christian Bale voice as Batman?
Oh,
No.
awful. The worst.
Yeah.
He had the worst of all
talking
the Batman voices. But I will say this: on those old movies and all that, they didn't have a lot of military consultants because there weren't a whole lot of. So now you've got so many guys that fought in the GWAT that are consultants on like even how people are holding their firearms and like different. I remember that with the Terminalist series. Like there were a lot of people looking at how Chris Pratt was like handling his M4 and how
dude, there's a good
other
trilogy.
people. What?
Guardians of the Galaxy. That was great, dude.
I
I
like
didn't
him.
get it.
Yeah.
I didn't think it was very funny. Derek's a fan.
Yeah.
Hey, well, but
Which would you rather watch, Guardians of the Galaxy
Yes,
trilogy?
Guardians of the
or
Galaxy.
Lord
I know
of the
where we're
Rings?
going with this. I would rather watch Twilight twice than to watch Lord of the Rings again. Like that's basic. You're not going to live this down. This is like the Cologne thing for him, the Lord of the Rings
I'm
thing
fine
for
with
you.
it.
And I'm just glad Grassmeyer isn't here to come to your aid
I
because
know.
he loves them just like
He
you
does.
do.
He does.
Nah, not just like you do.
No, he loves them.
Everyone's all right. Real quick, everyone's favorite old Western. So can't be a new Western. Can't be like the Proposition or the new 310 to Yuma or what are some other good ones? I got a whole list of
What
modern
do you
ones.
consider-
Tombstone would be
Tombstone
newer.
or-
Would be newer.
Yeah, that's new.
So this got to be like back in the spaghetti Western age. Mm-hmm. So what would be your favorite of all the old Westerns? So you could even go back John Wayne, the guys before that. Would Gene Autry, would he be in some of those?
Yeah, oh yeah.
Chisholm.
Okay, you're taking
John
Chisholm.
Wayne. Chisholm, John Wayne.
Chisholm, John Wayne.
True Grit, John Wayne.
True Grit, John Wayne.
I couldn't name one.
Really?
Just make one up. What?
Just
give
say,
us a name.
just
of
say
an old one.
Shane.
Don't say Shane.
Just say Shane.
Don't say Shane.
Just say Lord of the Rings.
They went west at some point.
I've watched a bunch, but I don't know the names of them.
Can't pull one out.
Yeah.
I'm gonna take the Outlaw Josie Wells.
Good one.
Ooh, yeah.
I
That's
like
good.
that one. I thought that one was fun. It's got a Gatling gun in it. Nobody?
You ever seen The Wild Bunch?
No.
You need to. If
Wild
you
Bunch?
enjoy Gatling guns and big standoffs at the very end, oh, it's awesome.
Nice.
Yes.
I'm gonna go ahead and tell you, like I had no intentions of us going that long with that, but hopefully y'all thought it was fun. I will say, my dad who watches all these, shout out to my dad, love you. He loves our banter at the beginning. The last time I was at his house, he goes, I just love listening to y'all get after each other, like, and just say like all the random stuff at the beginning. So he's gonna be a huge fan of this one, and he's the one that I watch Outlaw Josie Wells with. So
Nice.
boom, I brought it
Nice.
full circle. You gonna make fun of me, Jake? I just mentioned my dad.
I
guess-
was going to say, I'm actually going to say if you actually end up watching The Wild Bunch, which I think would be like 1B in terms of my old Western picks, if you actually end up watching it, I'll be interested if it redeems me in terms of my movie recommendations.
1969, The Wild Bunch.
The Wild Bunch.
You know what? Last one. Favorite modern Western.
Tombstone.
Yeah, I think you got to go with Tombstone. I literally have a. Well, Ryan, you didn't seem super sold on Tombstone.
I'd go with Hostels.
fantastic. It's so rough.
I'm a Christian Bale guy.
Is that the
Anything
is that the
Christian
hood
Bale's
thing?
in, I could do that. 3:10 to Yuma. I mean, I love Tombstone. Don't get me wrong; it's a great movie. But Hostels, man, Bale's.
See, I don't know.
Bale's
I think
pinnacle actor.
when it's a mark of a good movie, there's. I mean, how often do you quote Hostels in your normal lexicon?
It
Whereas
doesn't
how much
have
do you
those
quote
moments.
Tombstone?
I mean, Val Kilmer in Tombstone. I
Yes.
mean, I'll be your Huckleberry. You know,
Which I've
Any
heard
Val
is not
Kilmer.
That whole-
Barry. It's
Which one?
Bearer, Huckleberry. Did we talk about
Huckleberry.
that?
Yeah,
Your
it's not.
Huckleberry.
I'm your Huckleberry. It's I'm your
I'll be
Huckleberry.
your
That would be
Huckleberry.
someone that would.
After I heard that.
But he changed it because he had a very specific reason. Val Kilmer did for changing it to I'm your Huckleberry, and it just became a thing. But I literally have a list on my phone because I just can't. I'll sit there and scroll if I'm in a hotel room trying to find a movie to watch.
that list. I think I have it too.
All right, so I have a list of my favorite modern westerns. Okay, so Hell or High Water,
Yeah, classic.
unbelievable. No Country for Old Men, The Revenant.
Yeah,
You didn't like it? Okay, The Proposition. That's a western that's Guy Pearce set in Australia. It's great, very rough. Hostels. It's on there. The 3:10 to Yuma with Russell Crowe and Christian Bale. Tombstone, obviously. Wind River. I put that into the category. So that's a Taylor Sheridan one that he wrote. It's spectacular with Jeremy Renner starring
Hell
in
and
that.
High Water is a Taylor Sheridan, I believe.
It is.
Yeah.
Yep. True Grit with Jeff Bridges. So that's the newer True Grit. Django Unchained. That's kind of it's
Denzel?
technically Western. It's funny. Did you say Denzel?
Is that who that is?
No, it's
it was
Jamie
Jamie
Foxx.
Foxx.
Jamie Foxx.
Foxx.
Okay.
Yeah.
Oh man, I
Yeah,
kind of
see-
want to see that movie
with
with
Denzel.
Denzel being
I
that
don't-
character.
I can never
think Jamie
remember
Foxx
who's in
has a
movies.
lot of flair to that, man. He did a good job.
The Assassination of Jesse James by the coward Robert Ford. So Jesse James is played by Brad Pitt. Dances with Wolves.
Oh yeah.
The Ballad of Buster Scruggs, which is kind of like a compilation of short stories. Old Henry.
That's great.
Yeah, okay. Someone else has seen it. No one has seen Old. Have you seen
No.
Old Henry?
I was waiting for somebody to
No
say
spoilers.
it. I was like, man.
No spoilers.
No.
Guys, you got to watch Old Henry. I don't care who's listening to this in the future or whatever. Old Henry, and the last one, Legends of the Fall. I'm putting that in the Western category as well.
I like
That's
that.
give me
My
Legends
wife
of the Fall.
makes fun of me for liking that movie.
No, I don't.
That's a good one.
Yeah, it's classic.
Any other modern westerns that I missed?
Modern? No. Well, I mean, there's the new Magnificent Seven, but
I haven't seen it.
it's not.
Denzel's in it.
You watch the old one.
The Hateful Eight was atrociously bad.
Yeah,
I thought
yeah,
that was
bad.
so unbelievably bad. Saw it in theaters.
But yeah, the old Magnificent Seven. I mean, if you want to watch the Magnificent Seven, watch that one.
Okay.
So,
I think we need to
anyways.
kind of wrap up this
Yeah,
movie thing,
let's
even though
start.
we've had a lot of fun.
the Bible.
Because I just got to tell you, Genesis 45. This was not like
Speaking
a
of
planned
the
thing.
Magnificent Seven. Let's move on to the formation of the Seven
Grassmire.
Tribes.
I will say this is
7 tribes.
one of
12 Tribes, maybe.
Magnificent 12.
Magnificent 12.
Speaking of Magnificent 7, double that. Take away
Take
2.
away a couple.
And let's talk about the 12 tribes of Israel.
I suck at this. See, I'm not Grassmire. I can't
It's
do
okay.
it. I
His are-
tried.
his
I
are
give it a-
He's good at it.
they're very simple.
Yeah.
But I will tell you, of all the things, because when people talk about how Hollywood's not making any good movies anymore and all that, it's like, just go to your Old Testament, and like there's so many stories in there. The first 3 verses of Genesis 45, that's where we really get this unbelievable drama that like I just haven't seen it put into kind of movie form. What's up?
There's a movie on
Are
TNT.
you going back to the westerns?
No, I'm not going back to Westerns. TNT did a Joseph movie with Ben Kingsley playing Potiphar and Paul Mercurio, I think is his name. He's an Australian actor playing Joseph. And there's this scene, like, I think
This
it's
scene.
like this scene, like, is amazing in this movie. Like, I choke up every
How long
time I
ago
watch
was that?
it. It was back in like 1999. It was like, I remember I had it on VHS. It was like 2 tapes. It's so long.
Oh, man.
I think Jason Robards, the guy that plays Jacob. Let me pull it up real quick. But
I thought we were getting. Where's Matt to get us transitioned back to the movie thing? You just couldn't let me do my intro into 3 verses.
sorry,
Now-
but no, I'm just it
Squirrel.
made me.
Squirrel.
Well, you
Okay.
guys we're talking about movies, and then I'm thinking back at this, and like there's this part where like Simeon, like we're
in this movie.
in this movie. Oh, let's just go ahead and go through it, and then when that part comes up, I'll
Whenever
talk
you
about
want to, Ryan, we can
Sorry,
just
my bad.
transition. Like
My
you're the
bad.
one driving
Sorry.
the ship. It's okay. But hey, you know what? You can go ahead and read these first 3 verses because I'm gonna mess up your research time. Okay, read the first 3 verses of Genesis 45. And guys, this is high drama. Let's go.
All right. Then Joseph could not control himself before all those who stood by him. He cried, "Make everyone go out from me." So no one stayed with him when Joseph made himself known to his brothers. And he wept aloud, so that the Egyptians heard it, and the household of Pharaoh heard it. And Joseph said to his brothers, "I am Joseph. Is my father still alive? But his brothers could not answer him, for they were dismayed at his presence.
Like, I can't even begin, because again, we talked about it. I don't have any brothers. You got a brother. You got a brother?
Older brother, yeah.
Older brother.
2 sisters.
Yeah, 2 sisters, and I have 1 sister. Like, the number of things here, right? How long he's been holding on to this secret. His brothers don't recognize him. They thought they had killed their younger brother. Like, his dad had been lamenting for all these years that his favorite kid was dead. Like, he doesn't know his dad's, like, still alive. Like, is my father still alive? Like, there's so many things happening right here. I mean, the crescendo, the music, the everything, the drama. I mean, we have been working on the forging table for weeks to get here. And I mean, we're 45 chapters into Genesis, and this is one of the most dramatic moments we've seen.
You can only imagine their shock. But then
Oh my
also
gosh.
think about everything that they're thinking back about as you know, we talked about in the last episode, and I pronounced it wrong, deviation, and where Joseph was trying to gain knowledge about how his brothers changed, and he would set them up to think about certain things in their past. I think at one point when they sit down to feast with Benjamin there, he sets them up,
Puts them in order,
puts
birth
them
order.
in order and birth
They
order
were
and everything
shocked.
like that, and they're shocked by that. So all these things are coming, probably coming to them like, he knew who we were, and so I can only imagine the shock in that room. And then also the lament of like what they've done to their brother, but also the happiness to see that he's alive and well, and that he's, where he's at and the stature that he's at in Egypt.
Is that burden lifted from what they did, or they're like oh man?
No,
like,
I don't think it
I
is.
think
feeling
they're
it
scared to
big time.
death.
I think so
Yeah.
too. Yeah.
They're
So-
still scared
Yeah.
even after their dad dies.
If you
Right.
think about it, okay, so Judah just gave this longest speech in Genesis, when he's discussing, why they have to, why he needs to be in place of Benjamin. And in this moment, he reveals himself as Joseph. Okay, putting yourself in the place of Judah and his brothers. Judah just offered for Benjamin substitutionary atonement, and yet sold Benjamin's older brother into slavery. So if you're carrying around this guilty conscience, I would personally be like, oh crap. Like, okay, so his brother was okay to save. I'm willing to save him, but I wasn't willing to I'm screwed.
Yeah.
I am
I didn't
screwed.
even think about that.
Yeah.
Yeah.
When again, he's weeping in a way where the entire household of Pharaoh heard it, right? So there's commotion
Yeah.
in the kingdom, in the household.
Yeah.
And so there had to have been people, other servants of Pharaoh, perhaps even Pharaoh himself. They're like, what in the world is going on? Because he's wailing and weeping so big. Again, this goes back to a point you made last week, Ryan, about the emotional control that Joseph has to wait until this moment to reveal what he could have revealed from the beginning. Like, I recognize you guys, like just not testing them, not seeing any of these types of things.
Well, the thing we had to realize too is like during that Egyptian time, like the Pharaoh and all the people within Egypt, stoicism was really big. So everybody wanted to have like kind of a stoic. Nobody had a lot of emotion. Everybody was real stoic, and so showing this part of emotion also shows that Joseph, has feelings, has a heart. He hasn't succumbed to the Egyptian lifestyle of stoicism. So I think it's just showing his emotion, and that he still loves his brothers. And we talk back about Judah, and Judah could be in this oh crap moment, but Judah just like literally probably had one of the best speeches that you could possibly have, and like prostrated himself before Joseph. So Joseph, I think at this, did I say it wrong?
Prostrated.
Right?
Did I say it wrong? Sorry, Joby.
I didn't.
Sorry.
I wasn't going to say anything, and then I look at you, and then you look at him, and you both crack.
Where's the one where you like basically go down
It's
and
prostrating.
It's prostrate,
You were
not
very close.
prostate, which
I
is
didn't,
what
I
you
didn't
get.
say prostating.
You did.
Oh, man, I didn't hear it. I was
And you
trying
said
to say
deviation
prostrating.
again. Yeah, and it was divination.
Is it divination?
Divination.
See, I can't.
It's okay. We all have our moment. That's
Yeah.
a good one, though.
That's a good one.
Prostrating.
I put myself prostrate for somebody.
I
It's
thought I
like,
said the T. I thought I said the T.
you said one of them.
Prostrating.
Prostrating. There it is.
Prostrating.
Nice. I can't form
But
words at all,
prostrated,
so
yeah,
you're doing good.
I'm an idiot. So
No, you're not. It's just of all the ones, and I was just gonna let
Hey,
it go.
it was like
and
that
you
one that-
two
There's no
joked.
way.
I was like,
There's
yeah.
no way.
like that one time with fecal or fical.
Oh gosh, yeah, we were on
Yeah.
that one for a while.
Yeah,
That was
and I'm
real
reading
crap.
Genesis with my kids, and we came across that again. And I'm
Put you in a
like-
real crappy situation. You know?
I was like, hey, babe, did you say fecal or fical on this one? She's like, I don't know. That's a good one.
say fecal.
Yeah. She's like, what did Kyle say? And I was like, you know what? He said it was just a messy situation.
Yeah,
So-
it was very messy. But you were in the middle of a point before
Yes.
you
Yeah.
prostrated
I'm sorry.
yourself all over us.
Sorry.
but like, if you go back, he's like basically making himself Judah's making himself a slave to Joseph, and so. I think what they see the emotion out of Joseph and the crying and everything. They're not seeing anger. They're seeing something different. And so there could be fear, but and there always is going to be fear because they're worried about once their father dies, just like with Jacob, Esau, once Isaac was dead, was Esau going to come after Jacob? But the point that I was trying to make, I'm still thinking about
Still working on it. So are we. That's the thing.
No. But that's the thing is just that the emotion that he's giving, the emotion that he has right now is an emotion of like, I think love, honestly. So
Talking about
and
Joseph.
forgiveness, yes, Joseph.
But yeah, I would certainly agree with that. But you just got to think for the brothers, like kind of back to what Jake was saying, the level of confusion and shock. And because with that many brothers, there's probably someone that's automatically like, oh my gosh, it's our brother. This is great. Some people are like, oh my gosh, their initial thing is like, this is terrible. We're about to lose our heads. Or it's like, oh my gosh, is this even possible? Like just complete disbelief. Like that had to all be present.
Yeah. And I think also, think about Joseph himself. It's not like I'm sure he hasn't seen his brothers in such a long time. I'm sure as he's sitting in the dungeon, I'm sure he's not thinking of his brothers fondly in that moment.
Yeah.
The bitterness and anger over being sold into slavery, over not seeing his father, who clearly loved him so much, of not being there as his mother passed, really not having any sort of relationship with his little brother Benjamin.
Was he was not there when his mother passed?
I don't think so.
I think he was.
Joseph?
Joseph was there when his mother passed.
Maybe I don't think he was. I don't know. I could be wrong.
Yeah.
You can check it out. But go ahead. Go ahead, Jake.
But and I've talked about this before, but if you've ever truly looked at someone and forgiven them, this is kind of the emotion that comes out, because if you're just holding on to that anger and that, or hate or whatever it is, when you actually go and truly forgive someone, you melt. It's a release that I cannot describe it, but it's I've heard that what is it? What's the old saying that it's oh man, I'm clinging on. It's not that old of a saying, but I guess it's drinking. What is it?
When you drink poison expected to kill the other person, that's
Right.
bitterness.
Yeah.
Or no, not bitterness. We're both on the exact same wavelength right now.
That's the phrase. It's
I don't know.
It's
What were you talking about?
shoot. So this is like where you're drinking poison expecting it to kill the
Another
other
person
person.
to
It's
die.
like it's unforgiveness or hatred or bitterness or
right.
Yeah.
sheesh.
I don't know what
Neither
it
one of
is.
those is right either.
It's
But
not.
go ahead and make your point. Make your point. I'll
that
look it
is
up.
my point. In that moment, Jacob is forgiving someone. It's almost like this poison is leaving his body.
Jacob or Joseph?
Sorry, Joseph. There's
Okay.
too many J names here.
Yeah.
Also, but that whole, it's almost that release that comes through him. It just bleeds through the page in the first few verses.
Well, I think so. Joseph was there when Rachel died. I just looked it up. So
Okay.
the death of Rachel and Isaac happened around the same time, and then Joseph's dreams happened. But to go along with what you're saying, though, Joseph lost his mother, went through that grief, and the only thing he has is his brother and his dad. Really, when it comes to it, and now he's seeing his brother for the first time. So, like, just having Benjamin there,
Yeah.
I think is an emotional thing for him, anyways.
I think it's
Holding a
bitterness.
grudge. Holding a grudge.
Grudge or
Yeah.
bitterness. Okay. Yeah, this is look unresolved anger or resentment. Those are things that are all here. There's so much here. I actually want to read. I'm going to read part of the next section here because I want to cut it off in the middle of verse 8 because, again, the level of drama and things that can be discussed here is pretty incredible. So Genesis 45, starting in verse 4. So Joseph said to his brothers, "Come near to me, please." And they came near, and he said, "I am your brother Joseph, whom you sold into Egypt. And now do not be distressed or angry with yourselves because you sold me here, for God sent me before you to preserve life. For the famine has been in the land these 2 years, and there are yet 5 years in which there will be neither plowing nor harvest. And God sent me before you to preserve for you a remnant on earth and to keep alive for you many survivors. So it was not you who sent me here, but God." I mean, so Joseph is 39 years old now, okay? He was sold by his brothers 22 years prior to this point. So for 22 years, a lot of that was pretty rough, right?
Yeah.
And the level of perspective here, because again, I've admitted here on the show, like sometimes I can be a mental midget. I can be like angry about nothing. Like, though I will ruin someone's day because my Wi-Fi is not working as strongly as I would like for it to, right? And I just sometimes I'll lose perspective because of the thing that's right in front of my face that isn't going exactly how I want it to go. But right here, he's almost assuaging some of the shock that we assume is with his brothers, some of the fear, saying, "No, come close to me." Like, and he hasn't said the ultimate thing yet about kind of what the evil was meant for.
Yeah.
But it's like, look, you didn't send me here. God did. And it's just like, man, to have the perspective of Joseph.
Well, he's also throwing out forgiveness at this point too. He's like, he says, oh man. "And now do not be distressed or angry with yourselves because you sold me here." So he's like, do not be distressed. Do not even be angry with yourself for what you've done. And so he's offering forgiveness. And this is that part in the movie that I was telling you guys about, is there's a part where he's forgiving them. And, scholars will, some commentaries will say that Simeon was the ringleader of it. And there's a point where the character of Simeon kind of breaks down and says, "I'm the least to be forgiven." Like, why would you forgive me? And he break down. And this is the guy who went into Shechem, stabbed everybody, didn't care about anything, was very, very evil in his mindset. And now he's seeing the forgiveness of his brother is a very telling sign. And then you can only imagine what these guys are feeling when they're getting that forgiveness. And then think of Benjamin just being in awe of his big brother and where he's at and seeing what he's done. It's just kind of a surreal thing.
Yeah, I would say just that section. Go ahead, Jake.
Oh, I was going to say, okay, so hang with me here. Has anybody played chess against a computer?
Yeah.
Oh, gosh.
I'm not very good.
Have you ever won?
I'm not good either.
Have
I know
you
what
ever
all the
won?
pieces do, but I have no idea how to make them.
Have you ever won?
I don't
No.
think so.
You ever beat the computer?
I don't think so.
Not even on dumb mode.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So, to me, in a very real sense, us as humans are essentially really bad chess players playing against an ultimate supercomputer. But it's even greater than that. But if you kind of look at it as if you've ever played it, the computer is literally looking at, okay, I make this one move, or let's say I make a move as the bad chess player, and then the computer actually is going to respond with, I'll make this move, and then I'll make this move, and then I'll make this move, and I already know he can
He's gonna do
predict 3 or 4 moves ahead, and he's reacting with those moves, right? So essentially, in a way, and there's times where literally it's like, okay, I am backed into a corner. I can only make one move. I'm backed in that corner, or I'm mated. I surrender. I either have to surrender or I just walk away from the game.
Right.
And so in a very real sense, I think, in all, we are making different choices at different times, and God can kind of outflank any evil that might be there. As I read one of the commentaries, is there some language that falls between cause and allow that fully retains God's sovereignty yet does not impugn him with the capricious acts of injustice? And I think there almost has to be, because you wouldn't say that God said sell Joseph into slavery, because that would be an author. He would be authoring evil at that point. But at the same time, if you said, well, no, he allowed it, well, does that basically put him in the situation where how much power does God have?
Well,
so there's something in between that I think we can't describe. because we're not God. But that's just, again, I look at it more like I'm a really bad chess player playing against the ultimate chess player, and he already knows, it's not that he's predicting my moves. He already knows what every move I'm going to make.
He knew about the deceitful heart of the brothers. And then how else are you going to put, if God knows this famine's going to go down and he's going to allow this famine to happen, or however this is going to go down, how am I going to get somebody from this tribe all the way to Egypt and into the power that they need to have in Egypt, not only to save the tribe, but to save more people, And so it's like, I hate to give away, I hate to give away the next part, like the other thing. So
I would hang tight on it. But Derek, if you will start halfway through verse 8 and read through verse 15.
All right. He has made me a father to Pharaoh and lord of all his house and ruler over the land of Egypt. Hurry up and go to my father and say to him, thus says your son Joseph, God has made me lord of all Egypt. Come down to me, do not tarry. You shall dwell in the land of Goshen, and you shall be near me, you and your children and your children's children, and your flocks, your herds, and all that you have. There I will provide for you, for there are yet 5 years of famine to come, so that you and your household and all that you have do not come to poverty. And now your eyes see, and your eyes of my brother Benjamin see, that it is my mouth that speaks to you. You must tell my father of all my honor in Egypt, and of all that you have seen. Hurry and bring my father down here. Then he fell upon his brother Benjamin's neck and wept, and Benjamin wept upon his neck. And he kissed all his brothers and wept upon them. After that, his brothers talked with him.
And so, this is kind of the former youngest to the current youngest. That's even more drama. I mean, the connection between Benjamin and Joseph is not familial at this point. It goes even deeper than that, because this is the first time they've talked about this. So I'm sure he's got questions like, hey, have they been treating you well? Like Joseph to Benjamin, it's almost like it's more than a big brother thing. Yeah. If you can put it that way. Other thoughts on that?
Yeah, Derek.
Derek, say smart stuff. Hurry up.
Yeah, I don't have anything smart to say other than, you can just still see the emotion that is, pouring out. Like he's crying with his brothers after they've been talking at least for a while. And just, what an emotional reunion, I guess. That's all I got.
It was good. I liked it. So I'm here for it. I'm good for it to keep going.
Winning?
Actually,
I don't know.
Derek, keep saying smart stuff.
I don't got anything else to say.
If you're wondering, because why I'm over here, ever since you said chess, I'm trying to beat a chess bot here on the screen here. I'm on chess.com and I'm playing it on beginner mode. It's going okay. It's going okay right now. So I want this to maybe be the first time that I've actually done it, and I'm doing it while listening and trying to keep this whole thing going.
I feel like they made all games a lot easier a long time ago.
Yeah,
I beat it on easy mode, but
see, I don't think I have. So I'm still on the struggle bus here.
It's like if you're playing Madden and you put it on Madden mode, it's like not that hard.
It's impossible. You can't even you can't do anything. All right, well, let's go to this last section here. Let's go to 16 through 28. So, Jake, how about you go ahead and read from verse 16 and go through the end of the chapter?
When the report was heard in Pharaoh's house, Joseph's brothers have come. It pleased Pharaoh and his servants. And Pharaoh said to Joseph, say to your brothers, do this, load your beasts and go back to the land of Canaan, and take your father and your households and come to me. And I will give you the best of the land of Egypt, and you shall eat the fat of the land. And you, Joseph, are commanded to say, do this, take wagons from the land of Egypt for your little ones and for your wives, and bring your father and come. Have no concern for your goods, for the best of all the land of Egypt is yours. The sons of Israel did so, and Joseph gave them wagons, according to the command of Pharaoh, and gave them provisions for the journey. To each and all of them he gave a change of clothes, but to Benjamin he gave 300 shekels of silver and 5 change of clothes. To his father he sent as follows: 10 donkeys loaded with the good things of Egypt, and 10 female donkeys loaded with grain, bread, and provision for his father on the journey. Then he sent his brothers away, and as they departed he said to them, do not quarrel on the way. So they went up out of Egypt and came to the land of Canaan to their father Jacob. And they told him, Joseph is still alive, and he is ruler over all the land of Egypt. And his heart became numb, for he did not believe them. But when they told him all the words of Joseph, which he had said to them, and when he saw the wagons that Joseph had sent to carry him, the spirit of their father Jacob revived. And Israel said, It is enough. Joseph, my son, is still alive. I will go and see him before I die.
So the interesting thing about this is we see Joseph he was sold into slavery for 20 shekels, right? And yet we see in verse 22 to Benjamin they gave 300 shekels. I mean, the level of difference here between what these two guys experience is rather substantial. And when he's telling them not to quarrel, I thought that was a little weird at the end of verse 24. Initially, it's like, okay, why is he telling them not to argue, not to quarrel? But they would have been likely to quarrel just because the entire trip, it could have been like, man, whose idea was it to sell Joseph? And you know how stories go over the years with brothers. It's like, okay, it could have been the small thing and now it's this big thing.
Where'd he go, Simeon?
Yeah, but he's just kind of telling them hey, just don't do that. Just go home, get my dad, those types of things. But, I also, I read it again this morning, verse 26, where 26, and his heart became numb, for he did not believe them. I mean, gosh, when you hear that your son, over 2 decades ago, you've been mourning the loss of your son, and then his initial thing isn't just excitement, it's just numbness. How? How could this even be possible? You know what I mean?
He also thought, now I know my son's deceived me.
Right.
I didn't think about that.
Yeah. Because now he knows the deception of his 10 sons.
So they said he was presented the code all shredded up.
Yep. And then the other thing we have to look at too is you spoke of the coat. The coat was a symbol of Joseph being the shepherd of his house, and now he's fulfilling the shepherd role again by providing for his brothers and telling them to go back. He's taking up the mantle again, saying, "Go back, don't quarrel. Here you go, bring father to me." So there's a lot of things that we can glean from this, and the fact that Joseph's taking on his role, and then Jacob's finally seeing he knows what his 10 sons are like, but now he's finally seeing the deception that they've caused. So I wonder what's going down with Judah and all those other guys when they're talking to Jacob, and Jacob's seeing some excitement, but I wonder what the conversation is behind seeing there.
I think, Kyle, when you mentioned the choral comment, I read some commentary that apparently there's different translations here, but some of it could also be essentially he's like, don't fret. You're going to be it may not be a quarrel between you. It's a quarrel with yourself. It's this doubt. It's this doubt that you're having all right, this dude has been in Egypt for 2 decades. He told me to go get dad, bring him back here.
Can this really be?
I might want to run off here.
Right.
Oh, by the way, he also gave me a whole bunch of stuff. Maybe I just need to scram because there's no way he could be this merciful. There's no way I would be this merciful. So I think in a real sense that the quarrel that they're having, it's could there be some infighting? Absolutely. But I think there's so much infighting within themselves in this moment, just over the doubt that someone could actually forgive them for what they did.
Or what about their anger and everything that they had, what they pulled off in Shechem, quarreling with other people along the way, especially with everything that they have right now. They've got all this money,
they're traveling with all this stuff. It's you start quarreling with people, it's mess around and find out, So don't do it. Because go home, get dad. Come back.
These guys' hearts have changed, but they're still. Christ has changed our hearts, but we still have a sinful measure in us, and so maybe he's telling them hey, just be good.
Yeah, there's again, I'm absolutely struck by the drama of something like this that's happening here, and I mean, what do you think they were talking about on the way back? I mean,
because they're amazed. Yeah.
Because again, I'm trying to put myself, we are not the people of the Bible, right?
Yeah.
We are not David. But at the same time, when you're going into I can see these guys going through there's probably the brother that's quiet, right? It's not really saying much, just sitting there really, really thinking. There's probably someone that's excited at this chance, thinking, but man, like, again, knowing my own pessimism, I'm wondering if I would be sitting there thinking, like, we are literally doing the most foolish thing. He's having us go to get dad, and then as soon as we get back, he's going to kill us. Mm-hmm. Like we're going to get him, and he said he was fine with it, and like, hey, come near me, like, don't be scared. It's just like, man, I don't know
You'll
if I
see
trust
later
it.
they're still worried about it. Yeah,
and I see that, but like, they don't truly know their brother, and if they truly did know their brother, they wouldn't have sold him to slavery, and so that's the thing. They're always going to doubt who he is, even though I don't feel like they ever really truly let him in.
I think we frequently ascribe the wickedness of our own hearts to those who could be our enemy. And I think that's exactly what would have happened here. If you're walking away and thinking, well, if I was in his position, I would have this, ability to met out justice to somebody who wronged me so greatly long ago. And so it's so easy to just be like, it'd be so easy just to think of like how wicked they are and how wicked they were, especially in that moment, and how much you would just go, well, surely this is what they're going to do. You can talk yourself into it. And it's so interesting to me. We do it now too.
Well, they did it back then with Jacob and
exactly.
Esau.
But you do it now even. I mean, how often do we start trying, the whole gossip and backbiting that you would see in like an office setting? How much of that is just the wickedness of your own heart, trying to basically attribute malice to someone who may have none at all?
Yeah. It's always easier to see that for some reason.
Well, and that's the thing is like you hit the nail on the head, but like you think that they would actually like understand, like see how God worked in the past, because you saw that with Jacob and Esau. Mm-hmm. Jacob, they saw it. They had to have seen it because Jacob broke them up.
Yep.
And put them away. And they're like, yeah, Dad's brother's probably going to come kill us all because of what Dad did, And so, and it's just like they're walking back and they're like, man, Joseph's going to freaking kill us when we come back because of what we did, But like, that's not how God works, And so it's, where do you put your trust?
Yeah. And there's another element here. I mean, so I think most scripture that's written, you can there's a direct audience, which would essentially be the audience for that time.
Yep.
And then there's the indirect audience, which would literally be throughout time.
Yep.
The direct audience here, who's Moses writing to right now? Because this is Moses writing, but who is the direct audience in this moment? It's the Israelites as they're wandering through the desert.
Yeah.
Who are probably doubting God's promise at the moment.
Quarreling.
And yet and quarreling.
Yeah.
Yes.
Yeah.
And so here they are. Joseph sends them out of Egypt to go and fetch their father and bring them back to Egypt, which at the time, they're all going, all right, yeah. I mean, he sends them out with all of these goods, which is exactly what Egypt did then.
Yeah.
But now they're wandering in the desert, and it's like just a reminder that God has a promise. And just so you know, for those who went back to Egypt, it didn't go so well for about 400 years, did it?
Right.
So
Well, you bring up a really, really good point, too, because I'm reading Samuel with my son right now. And if you go back and you look at the prophets in Samuel, they'll always talk about the God who brought you out of Egypt.
yes.
And so now Moses is in the desert, and now he's having to show them, like, look what God did here.
Yeah.
And then you go back to like David's time, and they're like, look what God did here, And it's just like, and how soon we all forget. Like, even I go through my tough times. Like, I went through a tough time this last year, and I'll be the one to tell you, hey, you're going to go through tough times, put your trust in God. But then I also forget what God has done. I'm no different than these people here right now, because even I forget what God has done. And then I have to remind myself, like, look what God has done, not only with his people here in the Bible, but look what God has done in my life through other people.
Well, part of it is perspective as well, because if we go back to in 45, where it's like, okay, and God sent me before you to preserve for you a remnant on earth, and then verse 8, so it was not you who sent me here, but God. The level of perspective, typically when we're in the crap, we don't have any other perspective, right?
Yeah. Mm-hmm.
Now, because I did this exercise with people back in the day, but this is when I was at Life Church. Craig Rochelle's first book was Chazon, and it was, kind of helping you find your purpose for your life. And it's a really helpful book for a lot of people that kind of have struggled figuring out like what their purpose is and all that. And some people get stuck on trying to find like the best statement or whatever. But anyway, I was at these workshops helping people understand. And one of the things that you do when you're working through that book is you have to put your life into 5 chapters. Okay. Now, at the time, I'm in my early 20s. So my chapters are early life, elementary school, middle school, high school, college. Like those are my 5 chapters of my life. Mm-hmm. But I was helping people that were in their 60s and 70s, and their first chapter is school, right? From born to, whatever
College,
their degree is, right? Then they've got early family life, and then they've got, maybe like raising teenagers, and then maybe it's like empty nester and all these types of things. And so when you look at these, if you have to put your life into 5 chapters only, it changes your perspective on the things that you're dealing with. So, some of you, we got teenage kids and things like that. And when something happens to a teenage girl, it's the most meltdown thing that could possibly happen because they were not included on a text thread, or, a boy who gets his heart broken by a girl that he really had a crush on or something like that. It ends up happening for you. But the level of perspective that you can have if you look at your life in chapters. But look at this. I mean, we're looking at, we get the book. Like we got the book, so we know the history and we know what happened and we know what's going to happen. They're just living second by second back in that day. And so the perspective, they simply don't have it.
Yeah, it's so hard. It's so hard to kind of, when you're being shaped, I have this conversation with my daughter a lot, which is, all of this feels very like this is going to just last forever, and it's so temporary. But in a very real sense, it's when you're being molded by God, sanded down, it's very hard to see it because we only see the dust.
Yeah.
We only see the mess. And, meanwhile, in all of this, in his providence, he's going to sand you into what you are supposed to be. The adversity, the things that you go through, they're going to be temporary. And ultimately, I'm going to read this quote. So this is from Orson Scott Card. It's a book called Ender's Shadow. I've never read it, but this is a good quote from it. So it's a dialogue between 2 characters. Do you know why Satan is angry all the time? Because whenever he works a particularly clever bit of mischief, God uses it to serve his own righteous purposes. So God uses wicked people as his tools. God gives us the freedom to do great evil if we choose. Then he uses his own freedom to create goodness out of that evil, for that is what he chooses. So in the long run, God always wins? Yes. In the short run, though, it can be uncomfortable.
That is a solid quote. We'll leave our discussion of Genesis 45 there and come back here next week because verse 28, and Israel said, it is enough. Joseph, my son, is still alive. I will go and see him before I die. Guys, come back here next week where we're going to be discussing Genesis 46 and 47. So be ready for a couple of chapters. But before we let you go, we are going to do a quick resilience boost at Undaunted.Life. Our mission is equipping men to push back darkness with content that forges spiritual, mental, and physical resilience. A few reminders. Crossway Forging Table Starter Set. Check that out in the show notes. Logos, the best Bible software on the planet. You can check that out. Get it at a discount. The link is in the show notes. And also, we are a donation-based ministry. So if you want to donate so that more things like the Forging Table can help equip men around the globe to push back darkness, hop on board and be a donor. Thank you for listening to this podcast. Wherever you're listening to this, please subscribe, rate, and leave us a positive 5-star review. If you want me to come speak live at your event or on your podcast, just shoot me an email to info@Undaunted.Life. That's info@Undaunted.Life. Follow us on Instagram and like us on Facebook, and check out our website for everything else, including how to donate to keep more content like this coming your way. Just go to www.Undaunted.Life. And as always, we want to thank the band Holy Name for allowing us to use their music for our content. The music on this podcast is their song Perpetua, which is off their self-titled debut album on Face Down Records. The links are in the description. I'm your host, Kyle Thompson. Remember, keep pushing back darkness, keep forging spiritual, mental, and physical resilience, keep seeking the Lion of Judah.